Hello and welcome to the show. We're back. First game, Tottenham versus Man City. 1-0 to Tottenham. Big result for them. Nuno Espirito Santos getting off to a great start. Couldn't really ask for much better, to be honest. Should Kane stay? Clearly Tottenham are the best team in the world now.
Oh my god.
So why would you want to leave that?
Okay, let's not address that. Obviously, it's been really exciting thus far. I mean, we've had just a ton of goals.
Brentford beat Arsenal.
No, don't do it.
And
Don't go there.
Tottenham beat Man City. Oh, I love it.
With regards to this match, yeah, it's really interesting. I definitely was curious to see, okay, Nuno Espirito Santo obviously is a little bit of a disciple of Mourinho, so it's a little bit funny to get rid of the master and then bring in the disciple and expect anything to change. Obviously, I thought they showed quite a nice graphic there with regards to the fact that Tottenham lost so many points from winning positions last season.
Yes, second most.
Yeah,
in the league.
Yeah, with like 25 or so. I was definitely worried that, okay, they'll actually hold on this time. But obviously they were able to do it, so that was really good. I don't know if you just want to jump straight into the attack.
Yeah, let's jump straight in.
Okay, so with regards to the Tottenham Hotspur attack, it was a little bit of deja vu, except obviously excluding Harry Kane's not there, but you've got this counter-attacking style, trying to take advantage of the really strong running ability as well as also ball carrying ability of the forwards for Tottenham. So here you've got Bergwijn, Son and Lucas Moura. I want to give a big shout out to all three of those who worked really very hard, I think defensively, but then also on the ball itself. I think they generally made really good decisions.
Special shout out to Moura, just the carrying, the to take on like 5 players, doesn't matter. He's too good. I love him.
So I thought one thing that was kind of interesting for me, and I think Gary Neville kind of pointed it out where he was talking, or he kind of criticised Son for passing back and retaining possession. And generally speaking, that is a good option. Yes, breaking forward and getting quite high up the pitch, and obviously pulling Manchester City into a defensive shape and then passing back so that then your team is able to regroup and potentially you can get a breather and establish a campfire at the pitch, at least against most other teams. But against Man City, like the way that they press and they're just, I'd say, generally defensively solid, or at least solid enough that Tottenham don't have the passing ability to pass through them. Yeah. I actually think that Gary Neville is right here. Like Son, yes, I know it's a little bit where I'm going up against Ake. If you lose the ball, maybe Man City can try you potentially. I mean, not in this game. What Gary Neville said was exactly right. Attack, attack, attack. You don't have the ability to pass through them, so just hope that with their low numbers, you can maybe get a little bit of luck. So with regards to the shape, so they played 2 different kind of shapes, I'd say, in attack. So we did just mention it's typically counter-attacking or direct runs or direct long balls. So it was normally the 4-3-3, which was their defensive shape. And then just from there, you'd have your 3 forwards kind of run up, and then maybe Dele Alli was trying to get involved as well, depending on where you win the ball or who has won the ball back. But then also sometimes, if you're trying to play it out of the back, or you've been kind of forced to pass it back, just by Manchester City's defensive shape, then they could move into a 4-2-4 where Dele Alli pushed into the front line and access that second forward. Also, I would include Manchester City's corners as one means of Tottenham attacking. So anytime Manchester City had a corner, Tottenham would try and get it to the goalkeeper or to one of the defenders, and then from there just launch it and try and get some sort of counter-attack going. And it was, I think, quite a good avenue.
Yeah, definitely. The defence for Man City, it was the high line and the high press. However, the high press wasn't really in action because the Tottenham weren't really doing the possession play. Yeah. You can't out midfield City, so you just got to play to some of your other strengths. Yeah. However, if Tottenham were like passing through, which I think once or twice, then if they get through, then City would just try their best to slow them down, show them down the line, and then make them turn around. And then by then, the City players have got into shape, and then from there they press and push them away as fast as possible. And just holding the ball well, keeping a lot of the possession. Of course, Tottenham weren't playing for possession, but just having the ball takes out a lot of time for Tottenham to attack you. However, Mendy was particularly suspect in giving the ball away in really dodgy positions. Spurs had like maybe 4 counter-attacking opportunities in that first half, and Mendy was the cause of 2 of them. Like, he just gave the ball away when he had no cover. Like when a winger gives the ball away, and Mendy's trying to make something happen just as the winger's trying to make something happen. But when you give the ball away as a fullback, you have no cover. Especially with the way that Man City were set up, they only had the 2 centre-backs and Fernandinho really with the soldier like defending. So you're putting Ake in a tricky spot time and time again. Other than that, Man City didn't really do too much wrong defensively, to be honest.
Yeah, so I guess just to add a little bit to that, I think that goes back to what I was saying with regards to like the 4-3-3 narrow forwards by Tottenham. So the fact that their forwards weren't really tracking. So even when Mendy was going forwards, then Tottenham would leave the job of tracking him, quotes, to the wide centre midfielders. So whether that's Højbjerg or Dele Alli. So obviously if Mendy goes up, then Højbjerg is probably tracking him. If it's Cancelo on the other side, then Dele Alli is tracking him and pressing him instead. So then, like you said, if Mendy loses the ball, you've got the forwards for Tottenham in attacking positions to be able to take advantage of that. And I'll say to Mendy, I think for me, it probably looks worse because it's Man City, and they obviously have possession so much and they push so many people forward. So it's no different from when Barcelona would get counter-attacked on. You just have tons and tons and tons of space to go into. Although I do think that he does lose the ball kind of doing like maybe a fancy trick or whatever, and like you said, he's the last player in that zone.
And I feel like he's really predictable in his movements. So like literally, when the first time he lost that, I literally turned to Abdullah like, he's got to turn back the other way. And then he did it. And then, like, if I can read it, then I'm sure a professional footballer can read it as well. But just last thing on the pressing shape, it was the 4-4-2 with Grealish joining Ferran. And that's how they would operate. Just didn't clarify that. Yeah.
Okay, so on to the Manchester City attack.
Manchester City would build up in their 2-3-2-3 with the two centre-backs, then the Fernandinho with the two full-backs. To start off with, they'd be quite wide. And then as the play moved up, Cancelo would move centrally and then Mendy would come out to that left side a bit more. But you'd always have like one of the midfielders or Sterling like a bit deeper, so you've always got like that 3 shape there. The 2-3-2-3 would change into a 2-3-5 when you get to the final third. As I said, with Mendy doing what he's doing on the left, and there'd often be a lot of like short passing to get up to pitch and then short passing in that channel to try and like displace Tanganga and Højbjerg on that side. And it didn't work. Tanganga was defending like an absolute monster. No wonder he got man of the match. Definitely deserved it.
Although I was kind of curious why they let up on him. I do kind of want to throw a question to the audience as well. Like, what do you guys think of the new, I guess, rules or interpretation of the rules with regards to aggression? Obviously, they're trying to move away from kind of the clown fiesta that there was last season. I mean, I was quite upset by it at times. So I do think it's good to move away from it. But obviously now, everyone kind of has to readjust what is a foul. So for me, I think Tanganga got that yellow card. So for me, why then let up on him? Focus on him. Keep pressing. You've got the players to be able to take advantage of that. You've got Sterling, so raw pace, and then you've got Grealish, who's just trickery personified. So why do you let up? So, I'll throw that to you guys. What do you think of the new interpretations of the rules with regards to aggression? And then also, do you think they should have keep pressing Tanganga given that you got the yellow?
Me, I like the new rules. It just lets the game go a bit more. It's a bit more. Just a bit more fun, isn't it?
It is a little bit, but also I feel, I guess maybe it's, I have a bit of bias, like when I watched United against Leeds, and it just felt like at times some of these I can see it makes like your kind of hackles go up and you're feeling like a little bit more like, not entertained, maybe it is entertained, but it's like your blood is really pumping, you're like, what the hell?
So it's always push and pull in football, like they were complaining that too many players were getting injured and like too many bad tackles are going in, being too reckless, and then they overcorrected and giving yellow cards for sneezing on the player.
Through COVID.
Oh, yeah, to be fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough. But now they're going to the other side. So like it's the first day, so like there haven't been enough tackles accumulated for a horrible one to get to sneak its way in. But yeah, on with Man City. They did love to switch from multiple different positions. So build up on the left, and then they'd like drop, then they pass the ball just slightly deeper, then they look for the long switch over to Mahrez. You'd get the one where Ruben Diaz would try and find the winger all the way on the opposite side. So all really effective ways of getting the ball up. They're so therapeutic to watch go through the air, especially when they like do like those one touches to make it stop. I know they're professionals and they should be able to do it, but it's still nice to see. But yeah, really useful way of getting up the pitch. However, they weren't, to be fair, they did make a few chances, Man City, like the Mahrez chance. Ferran Torres did get in there from, was it a free kick play?
Yeah, so it was passed out wide to Cancelo, who then fires it in, and then just can't get it on target, and then he kind of gets.
Yeah, it hits his foot, but his foot shape is just a little bit off. However, I think they did default a bit too much to crosses. Okay. The number one culprit being Mendy, and I think Mendy's crosses are particularly criminal because they're really, really easy to read. Like, he always does these two steps where he like comes up around the left-hand side of the ball, then which you can tell he's got to do it from his body shape. As a centre-back, it must be easy to tell when he's got across.
But I don't think so. I think, no offense, but I think it's a little bit of like outcome bias here, because the same, like when let's say Kevin De Bruyne, we know a lot of the time my man's going to whip in some cross. You just don't know where it's going to go,
and you don't. He does it at like, he doesn't take the same run up to hit it each time. Sometimes he'll like do like little backlift when the ball's like a bit closer to his feet. Sometimes he'll like swing his leg out. But with Mendy, it's robotic. It is the same two steps as he walks up to a ball that's been rolled out to him first time, and he'll always try and hit it first time.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is that I don't necessarily think that we should criticise him too much for the Kel. There's other players that have like Pels and still destroyed people. Ian Robben destroyed people for decades.
That's true.
And he knew what he was going to do. So for me, it's more. I'd be happier if you just criticised his delivery. Like, he's crossing it into people that are like 5'6". Against absolute monsters in the air who just dominated them. Yeah. Like, okay, fair enough.
Like, with the goal as well, like, that's how Spurs scored. It was a Mendy cross that got easily taken care of by Dyer. Like, it wasn't like one of those where there's space to run into. He's not trying to like hit it on the floor or anything. He hit it in the air to Sterling against Dyer. Dyer's in front of Sterling. Sterling isn't getting it. I'm sorry. Under no circumstances. All you've done is give the ball away for no good reason. And then it gets cleared out, and he's head out of position because he's gone across there, so he can't even help defend it. It's such like, just don't do pointless crosses. You're in Man City.
I'm sure he didn't think that it was going to be.
Of course he didn't.
So
yeah, that's true.
With regards to Tottenham's defence, so run through it quickly. There was 3 different shapes, I can say, or 2, a variation and 1. Anyway, let's just run through that. So we've got 4-3-3 and a 5-2-3. So the 4-3-3 is the one that has the variation on it. So the 4-3-3, like we mentioned before, you've got the narrow forwards and they don't necessarily track back. The far side of the forwards, so for example, if the ball is on Manchester City's right hand side, so with Cancelo, then you're going to have Bergwijn drop a little bit deeper than you would have Moura being the right midfielder for Tottenham. He's not going to drop, he's going to stay relatively high the sun. But Bergwijn will drop. The variation on this being that when Bergwijn goes off and Lo Celso comes on, Lo Celso helps out a lot more, so he would actually drop quite deep. So not just maybe 10-15 yards inside Tottenham's half, he's dropping all the way and really helping to actually press and just generally prevent Manchester City being able to have kind of sustained possession towards the last 15 minutes or so of the game when he came on. For the Lo Celso substitution, I would say that the wide centre midfielders for Tottenham would help out, as well as also the centre-backs would try and help the full-backs for Tottenham, because they were typically trying to be taken advantage of by the overloads, both by the full-back as well as also the wide centre midfielders and the runs of, or the positioning of the wide midfield. Just trying to create distance between the Tottenham centre-back and full-backs, and then have whether it's Ferran Torres running behind or maybe have one of the wide centre midfielders running through the depth as well. But the movement and positioning and communication of the centre-backs for Tottenham, as well as the wide centre midfielders, helped to kind of prevent that. I'd say with regards to the 5-2-3, then you had Romero, the Atalanta centre-back, come on. Obviously big money signing for Tottenham, and he just kind of slotted in. I think he was a good shout considering one, Højbjerg had just kind of got injured, so drop Højbjerg, you put him in centre back, and then Kevin De Bruyne just come on, so you know crosses are coming in at some point, so you've got an extra body in there, so that was a really good way of stopping that.
Just a quick point on Grealish. Very useful, I thought, in terms of winning fouls. He'd be on the ball for a minute and then he'd pick up a few fouls. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's really useful. Just winning set pieces is always really good. And when De Bruyne did come on, then you saw a bit more switching of sides. So Grealish did come over to the right hand side a couple of times. So like there was a bit more positional freedom once De Bruyne was on. But yeah, not enough.
Yeah, I guess with regards to Tanganga, obviously he got his yellow card and everything, but I actually think it was okay. Like what he was doing with regards to staying tight to whoever his man was. So you just mentioned a little bit of flexibility when De Bruyne came on, but even before that, there was a little bit of flexibility between Sterling as well as Grealish. So sometimes Grealish would end up out wide, and you have Sterling going to the box, or you just get a lot of kind of freedom in that space between those two to try and see if they can mess Tanganga around really and check his decision making. But generally speaking, he was really good, as well as also Sanchez, in kind of staying tight and preventing Grealish from being able to get the space that he wants to be able to then just kind of chink and beat you, as well as also Sterling. Like Sterling's not obviously as skillful, but his pace, like if you're close to him, you always have a chance of being able to get your foot on the ball before it just slaloms past you. So I think he did really well. And then I guess maybe the last thing that you mentioned is time wasting. Like towards the end, anytime he's got the ball sitting on it, obviously
it takes time to get up, man.
And then obviously Højbjerg, he got injured, so he managed to waste a little bit of time too. So with that, let's move on to the bottom half. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the Son goal scored in the 55th minute on the counter attack. Really nice goal. Did come from a Manchester City attack, obviously breaking down with guess who? Mendy. So Mendy's crossing, again, relatively ineffectual. I think this was one of those ones that you mentioned where it was kind of everyone was really static. It seemed like
everyone was set up. Like it was the full back four of Tottenham, then you got the midfielders there as well in the box. You got Sterling, Grealish, I think, and someone else. So there are people congesting the centre backs, but the centre backs are still all full chest over them. Like they're just all so much taller. And Mendy's done the typical. The ball's rolled out to him slowly. He's planning to hit it first time. Everyone's set up. Dyer clears it, and then
and then from there, Tottenham are able to kind of just play it out. I think it does bounce maybe off Torres, but then it goes to
Ferran. He heads it backwards. Towards
Moura. Moura is able to kind of just kick it over his head into Bergwijn, who's obviously running beyond, and then Bergwijn is at this point beyond Fernandinho. Fernandinho, unfortunately, not close enough to be able to do the Fernandinho thing of pull him down. So then Bergwijn does really well. He's able to just like run up the pitch, carry the ball just really strong. Son pulls out wide, trying to draw Ake with him. Ake tries to stay relatively central with Diaz just to prevent that kind of easy through ball to split him and Diaz. So then that kind of forces Son out wide. At this point, Son keeps kind of slows down the play a little bit, but then takes it a little bit further out wide, kind of isolating Ake with him. At this point, you're getting a couple of players for Tottenham get up. Dele Alli, Lucas Moura, Bergwijn, but Manchester City are getting players back. So you've got your centre backs, full back, you're getting Fernandinho, Gundogan, etc. There's not really too many options. By this point, this is obviously the second half. We talked earlier during the tactics section about the fact that maybe it's actually better if Son doesn't pass back because of the fact that Tottenham aren't really able to break down Manchester City with sustained possession. So here, Son obviously was probably told that during the break and instead cuts inside and is able to then just kind of drive along the edge of the box and whip the ball in, left-footed, into the far-hand side, buries it. Somehow it gets past Ruben Diaz, who seems to either kind of clip his foot on air or something and just go down.
I don't know, the code just messed up.
Yeah, something in the Matrix glitched, and then he kind of
just
something rather than clear the ball. Ended it back of the net, and obviously Son wheeled away to celebrate. Great goal. So there were a number of people that we think here could have stopped this from Manchester City.
There are three people.
Yeah.
Diaz being the least culpable of the three, with just his leg just didn't work. Normally it does, it didn't this time, upsetting. I think Cancelo is the next most culpable. As they're running down, so once Son has picked up the ball really wide, Ake has gone out to go with him. Diaz is deeper than Ake and running just towards the goal. Then now you've got Bergwijn, who is running towards the goal as well. But Cancelo is in between Son and Bergwijn, and I think that Cancelo should be running straight in between Diaz and Ake. And then now it's being, okay, I'm centre back now, and then saying, Diaz, you can be more aggressive. Ake, you can be more aggressive, because Ake the whole time was really passive, acting as if he was taking 5 yards away from him. He didn't show him down the line, didn't show him inside, didn't really do anything, just there. He thought, I'm guessing he thought he was alone,
Yeah.
but in fact he shouldn't have been alone. Cancelo should have gone there, told him to be more aggressive, told him to show him down the line specifically, and then you can get more players back and help deal with the situation. But then third most culpable is Mendy. He gives the ball away.
By third, you actually mean
the most culpable.
Yeah.
My bad. He gets gold medal, the most culpable in this goal. Topical the Olympics reference. So Mendy, I think, should have not given the ball away silly. That's the first step. Silly is a word. It's not a word. But it's a word I use. Language evolves.
My bad. It's your bad.
But now, when he's now running to catch up with the play, he probably should be going towards Ake to help double team Son. Because as soon as Son's trapped. Now the rest of the team is able to come back, and then you kind of like just sort yourself out. You won't be in like the normal like defensive line, but you'll be close enough and you'll be there. So I think he just was running back to position, like he was just trying to do like the job that was good enough, just like getting back. And it's like, oh guys, I got back. Yeah, I was here. I tried. Oh gosh darn it.
Yeah, so for me, I second that. I think that based on where Tanganga is, it's quite safe actually for Mendy to be more aggressive and help Ake to actively get the ball back. Tanganga doesn't show up until Son is already cutting inside, ready to take a shot. Before all of that happens, Mendy has been in position, like as the left-sided centre-back for a second or two. He could have come across instead, like so, make like kind of a box with Ake and just kind of push Son towards the touchline. Son can neither pass back to Tanganga nor pass inside because there's no other options inside. And then if he wants to go outside, fine, maybe he can be Ake. That's literally the only option that he'll have. Like, I think that was there for me, and he just chose not to do it. So yeah, I think maybe get a bit of a
with that, we out.